Michel de Certeau's essay, Walking in the City, from his book, The Practice of Everyday Life, explores the experience of urban space, the dynamics of power, and the practices of everyday life. De Certeau begins by contrasting the perspectives of the urban planner or architect, who views the city from above, with the experience of the pedestrian navigating the city streets below. He introduces the concept of walking in the city as a practice that reveals the complex interactions between individuals, spaces, and structures within urban environments. Strategies and tactics. De Certeau introduces the distinction between strategies, which are the deliberate plans and designs imposed by authorities to organize and control urban space, and tactics, which are the everyday practices and actions of individuals that subvert or adapt to these strategies. He argues that while strategies seek to impose order and efficiency, tactics enable individuals to assert agency and create alternative routes and meanings within the city. The poetics of space. Drawing on Gaston Bachelard's concept of the poetics of space, de Certeau explores how individuals inhabit and experience urban spaces through their everyday movements and actions. He discusses the significance of pedestrian practices such as walking, dwelling, and navigating familiar and unfamiliar territories as ways of engaging with the urban environment. Spatial stories and narratives. De Certeau examines how urban spaces become sites of narrative and storytelling through the actions and interpretations of individuals. He argues that each person's trajectory through the city creates a unique spatial narrative, weaving together personal memories, desires, and encounters with the built environment. These narratives challenge the homogenizing effects of urban planning and reveal the diversity of lived experiences within the city. The practice of walking. De Certeau emphasizes the act of walking as a form of resistance and appropriation within the urban landscape. He explores how pedestrians navigate and negotiate spatial constraints imposed by architectural structures, traffic patterns, and social norms. Walking, for de Certeau, becomes a creative and subversive practice that allows individuals to reclaim public space and challenge dominant modes of spatial control. Urban tactics and everyday creativity. De Certeau discusses how tactics such as detours, shortcuts, and improvisations enable individuals to evade or manipulate the spatial constraints imposed by urban strategies. He argues that these everyday practices of creativity and adaptation contribute to the ongoing production and transformation of urban space, challenging the fixed and hierarchical order imposed by urban planners and authorities. Spatial practices and social identity. De Certeau examines how spatial practices and everyday rituals contribute to the formation of social identity and belonging within urban communities. He explores how individuals carve out spaces of intimacy, familiarity, and social interaction within the anonymity of the city, creating networks of meaning and solidarity that transcend formal boundaries and divisions. The politics of urban space. De Certeau discusses the political dimensions of urban space, highlighting how power relations are inscribed and contested within the built environment. He critiques the ways in which urban planning and development often prioritize economic efficiency and social control at the expense of cultural diversity and community autonomy. De Certeau calls for a more inclusive and participatory approach to urban governance that recognizes the agency and creativity of ordinary citizens. Memory and urban palimpsests. De Certeau explores the layering of memory and history within urban spaces, arguing that cities are palimpsests where past and present coexist in complex and overlapping layers. He discusses how traces of collective memory and cultural heritage are inscribed in architecture, street names, and public monuments, shaping the lived experiences and identities of urban inhabitants. De Certeau's Walking in the City offers a nuanced exploration of urban space as a dynamic and contested terrain shaped by the everyday practices and perceptions of its inhabitants. His analysis challenges traditional conceptions of urban planning and invites readers to reconsider the ways in which individuals navigate, inhabit, and transform the cities they inhabit. De Certeau's work continues to influence debates on urbanism, cultural geography, and the politics of space, highlighting the importance of everyday creativity and agency in shaping the urban experience. Michel de Certeau's essay remains a seminal text that invites readers to critically engage with the complexities of urban life and the transformative potential of everyday practices within the urban environment.